Hello, everyone. We are here for a monumental edition of the Stranger Rings podcast. Today, we are talking about the broken universe. I am Corey,
I'm Tom.
and Tom. This is the main event of the evening, maybe of our lives, with this podcast.
This is what I have wanted to do for a very, very long time. This is some of my favorite stuff I've ever watched in professional wrestling.
This is some legendary stuff. This started off weird. I think a lot of people were kind of wary about what was going to happen here, but then everybody
Us,
kind of just bought in.
yeah, us included. I remember watching the whole contract signing thing and showing you and trying to figure out like what the hell has happened to the Hardys.
Yeah, they legitimately looked like they lost their minds with some of this stuff at the beginning, and then it turned into something so amazing. It's insane.
Anytime that you can shoot fireworks off at somebody and have a firefight in the middle of a field in North Carolina, it's worth it.
Yeah, you're doing something right when that happens, especially at this time in TNA because like they were just a wrestling company. Like they didn't have. I feel like at this time more than any, they didn't have any standout moments until this happened.
Yeah, they were in a bit of a transitional period, like these few years after, probably after Aces and Eights, they just had like a lot of, or really ever since they stopped touring at the Hammerstein Ballroom, um, they were having some issues when it came to just talent leaving, new talent coming in, new writers coming in, and they really were having trouble finding an identity. And I think the Hardys, I would argue, gave them the identity that they even have now, just due to the fact like how they do a lot of cinematic stuff now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good that came out of the Broken Hearties, which again, a lot of people were very skeptical. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because this is the precursor to the likes of the Boneyard match or the Firefly Funhouse or stuff like that. So this is where
Right.
it really started.
Right, because nobody else had really done much cinematic stuff. I think WCW had done mini movies when it came to promoting their matches, but they had never, which something that might be something that we have to go over
Oh yeah.
sometime later, but they never had a full match that was like the cinematic. The only thing that I could think of was they had WCW had Vampiro and the Kiss Demon fight in a graveyard.
Oh god. Of course, the Kiss Demon was there.
Yes, the demon Dale Torberg, Torberg, Torberg. I don't know how to pronounce his last name,
His
but
first name's Dale. We got
yeah,
that
his
down.
first name is Dale and his nickname is the Demon, which I don't trust, with his first name being Dale.
Yeah, really. That was oh, WCW 2000. That is a wild time as we've went over before. But
Yes.
so this Broken Hardys is this might be the most out there thing that has ever happened in wrestling up to this point. Um and this is just there's such a weird thing happening in TNA here because you have Matt had won the world title off EC3, correct? At Bound for Glory.
Yeah, he was still a face when he won the belt off of him, and then they ended up, me. I think it might have been a triple threat match, and Matt won the belt because
Hmm.
EC3 wasn't pinned, and they ended up doing a thing where Matt and EC3 did a double turn, and Matt retained or regained the world title. He's the first one to beat EC3, and Tyrus and Spud sided with Matt Hardy, and Matt became Big Money Matt.
Yeah, Big Money Matt. What a oh god, that's just ridiculous. Just saying it, just saying it. But he quickly went from Big Money Matt to this broken Matt Hardy because at the beginning of this in the contract signing, which is where we start, Rebby, Matt's wife, even says like Spud can't even talk to him, so he was still kind of aligned with Spud at one
Right.
point.
And they had a segment before this that I watched on YouTube. It was really short. It was like a minute long. And that's the tough thing when you get to researching this stuff that isn't on the WWE network.
Hmm.
It's very difficult to find. like full editions of segments and matches, but they had one where apparently Spud and Tyrus had a ladder match against Matt Hardy, and if Matt were to win, or if Matt, or sorry, against Jeff Hardy, and if Jeff were to win, then he'd get the match with Matt, and he won. But that's where
Okay.
Matt started being real weird.
Yeah, I remember there was, I think, two matches where Jeff had won before they went to the broken stuff, I want to say,
Right?
is what I read.
Yeah. I think according Wikipedia is normally pretty clutch when it comes to, um, like they really helped a lot with this storyline, trying to help figure out what the hell was going on here.
I feel like wrestling Wikipedia is pretty accurate usually. I mean, even they have that great write up in Eddie Guerrero's. He says he wouldn't reveal the secret, but then he did anyway. So whoever
And
wrote that is a true hero.
yes, shout out to Wikipedia. But to so anyway, Jeff and Matt had fought in an I Quit match before this Matt was Big Money Matt, and they had a no contest because I think they both just destroyed each other, and it caused Matt to start dressing strange. He dyed the white streak in his hair, and he spoke in a weird, sophisticated accent, according to Wikipedia.
That yeah, the whole thing, the way he started talking, the like skunk streak in his hair,
Yeah.
just so out there, and the way he was dressing was like no real person dresses that way.
He looked like Sweeney Todd. Like,
Oh my god, he looked like something from like I don't even know, like some like Goosebumps, like some kind of weird character from like some random ass movie. I don't know.
yeah, him and his Beetlejuice hair, like
Yeah, honest to God though, he was just out there. Um, and it's perfect for this time of year. He was very spooky looking.
yes, I was just about to say that. He was really getting with the Halloween times.
Yeah, so I guess should we just go right into the contract signing here? So pretty much Matt goes into his mental break or his
Yeah,
transformation after these two matches with Jeff.
right. And there was actually just one thing I wanted to cover where Willow was attacking Jeff Hardy for a while, and Willow was
Oh.
revealed to be Matt Hardy.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
We'll see Willow again here in this story soon. But
Yes.
so we start with the iconic contract signing where we first see the Hardy compound in Matt's beautiful home. And Matt, it shows the Hardy house, and Matt and Rebby are there, and Matt looks homeless.
I have a fashion watch here. Matt was wearing a black leather trench coat with like silver buttons, a white shock of hair, black tank top, and black jeans. Like you said, he looked like he was either homeless or coming from like some theater production.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like he had that coat, but then he just wore a fucking black beater under it. Like there was no no like you think he would have put like a button up shirt or something.
He was just like, you know what? I went really hard on the coat and spent the rest of my paycheck, so I gotta just go back with throw what I know at this point.
Oh my god. And this is where we get Brother Nero, the first reference to Brother Nero, in that he is going to come and sign the contract here at Matt Hardy's house, which they live on the same property in North Carolina. So he's going to drive his dirt bike there.
Yes, like in Jeff riding on a dirt bike is like it happens maybe 5 or 6 times on this entire show. Like they really just wanted to get over the fact that Jeff owns a dirt bike and doesn't ride it with a helmet on.
Oh, he doesn't need a helmet. He's Jeff Hardy. He doesn't get hurt. Well, he rarely got hurt up until this point, I think. Like this is where he started finally catching up with them.
Right. And but amazing the amount of bumps that he took from the age of 16 to now, like the fact that he's still able to walk, let alone move at the pace that he does.
Yeah, it's gonna hit at some point, like all at one time. Like maybe as soon as he turns like 50, it's just gonna be like, oh no. But I don't know. He's just this whole thing really shows off Jeff Hardy's acting chops or lack thereof.
This man just angrily yells throughout this entire segment.
This is great stuff. So Rebby takes King Maxwell, and they are leaving because she said that Matt has lost his damn mind. And she talks to Jeff on her way out, and she's like, Spud can't talk to him. I can't talk to him. You need to set this straight. Get in there. And Jeff Hardy turns to her and he's just like, just leave then.
He is so angry for absolutely no reason. Like Rebby's sick of all of this, which is obvious. You got your husband acting like I said, Sweeney Todd out here, and like obviously you're gonna want to leave and have the brother figure it out. But Jeff is really mean. Like he just yells "Go" at her.
He's
Like
so
there's
out
no
of place.
reason.
Like he's so fucking angry for no reason. Like I understand this is just some shit that he probably didn't want to go through, but I didn't think he'd be like, go to like the mother of his fucking nephew.
So Rebby and Max will leave, and Jeff goes to enter the house, and Matt is dramatically playing the piano, which is
Hmm.
something I never thought that I would see in professional wrestling, but here we are.
Yeah, he's
Um,
he's just sitting there like a goddamn deranged composer.
and immediately, as soon as Jeff steps into the shot, you get a shot of like Matt's face, and Jeff is like over his shoulder, and Matt abruptly stops playing and then gets the iconic lines that I'll let you say because my God, what a line.
Brother Nero, I knew you'd come.
You
Like the whole
obviously,
God, the whole thing is just so ridiculous because it's like Matt could just sense his presence and he
yeah.
just says it. It's amazing.
Even though he's the one that literally invited him here, and then probably heard his wife have an argument with Jeff out on the lawn, so it's like obviously he knows that you're coming.
It's oh god. So this whole thing here after he drops the Brother Nero line is that Matt starts claiming that he is the reason for the Hardys' success. And that even though everybody loves Jeff because he takes risks, that Matt was the brains behind it. So there is a good realism there because I think it's very well documented with their DVD that WWE released that Matt was the mind behind the team.
Right. And I read they had a combined biography that got released in like 2002, 2003, and Matt really said that he struggled a lot when it came to the fact like he was the one that like he I mean, there's a little bit of envy there because he was the one that would devise their matches and come up with all these spots, but Jeff was the one who has the more charisma, the risk taking. Like he was always the one that was popular with like just when we were growing up, he was the popular one of the Hardys. Matt was just popular because he was Jeff's brother.
Mhm.
Even though he's a damn good performer in his own right, and I think that this finally showed that he could be like a guy, like a top level guy.
I always liked Matt. Like I thought he was very creative, and I really liked the Matt and Edge stuff. So there was a lot. I do see where Matt's like, damn, Jeff. Of course, he paints his face and he does the crazy high risk stuff, and he's just such an enigma that people are just drawn to him. Where Matt is more of a regular guy. Yeah, but Matt is one of the guys that just has that normal kind of guy feel. Like you can relate to Matt easier than you can relate to Jeff.
Right. Jeff has that really he's that cool charisma type guy where Matt, like you said, is the regular guy. And I think as a heel he showed a lot of charisma. And I was trying to say all of this by the way, and then my mic got cut out and it was all spooky for a second. So
Yeah,
we're
it was
definitely getting into
weird.
the Halloween times.
Yeah, a ghost popped up and changed Tom's voice to like a very deep voice. So it was crazy. Some technical difficulties. Thanks, Skype.
But Matt really like he finally got to show off being a baby face, having a ton of charisma during this whole broken universe type thing. So um, it's nice to see Matt finally get his due. But like you said, he really had that this storyline touches on some real insecurities that Matt actually had.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to the whole dichotomy of the Hardys because so I have one brother. He's a lot more eccentric than I am. We'll put it that way. So I can relate to Matt, but my brother was more of a risk taker. Like he's the one, he crashed a motorcycle. He's crazier than I am. So I completely understand Matt, but I will say I'm more of the brains than the brothers said for me personally. So
We're gonna have to get your brother on the podcast and refer to him as the Jeff Hardy of your family.
he became such a big wrestling fan, so I'm gonna have to actually get him on.
Oh,
He stopped watching when he was like 13, and now he watches like every single day.
I love it. That's growth, man.
Yeah, so he used to be like, "Why are you still watching wrestling?" And now that's all he can talk about, and he collects figures. So
I
I'm
love
very
it.
happy he came back to he left the dark side.
That's cool. Shout out to AEW for that, I believe.
Hmm. Both really.
Oh,
Uh,
nice, nice.
yeah, he was big on both of them. He still watches, I think, all 3 or 4 shows.
God
So
damn, good for
yeah,
him.
that's a lot of time on your hands for that. But Matt here, after he claimed success for the Hardys, Jeff is very angry again. That set him off, and he screams, "Sign the contract! What are you afraid of?"
And his southern accent really comes out when he starts to yell. Like he just like oh god, he sounds. I don't want to make fun of southern accents, but it's like he just has the biggest southern accent in the world whenever he yells.
Oh, Jeff is just like, I just love the fact we know why he didn't get his WWE Studios movie. They never offered him a role because this man has either calm or very angry yelling. That's the two things he has in his repertoire.
Yeah, that's the only thing that he's able to really do. But compared, if we want to talk about accents, we got to talk about Matt's accent too, because it's really in full
Oh my
effect here
god.
as well.
Yeah, he's talking like I don't even know how to describe it, but he's giving like he's trying to act like he's the smartest person in the world is the only way I can describe it.
He sounds like a cross between like Transylvania, like vampire, where he's about to be Cody Rhodes and say good evening in a vampire accent, which he can't do now that he dyed his hair back. But
Oh, did he? That's so disappointing.
yeah, he must have either wanted to go to Dark Cody all of a sudden, or he just got embarrassed on Twitter. But
Oh
I
my
don't
god.
think so because he wouldn't have his neck tattoo still if he read Twitter.
Yeah, that's true. That's man, if he would have just got that on his chest, it would have been so much better.
Yep. Yep, but he had to go get the neck tattoo, which is a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, you can't go back from that.
No, but we always have to mention Cody here on the podcast. He is probably the podcast favorite wrestler other than Rockstar Spud.
I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter about how he beat Orange Cassidy, and they were like, "Huh, some of you guys thought Cody was gonna lose."
Oh
Like people
Lord.
were just, yeah, people were starting to
They
rip
they
Cody a
had a
little.
time limit draw.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see it, but people are starting to get Cody with the Triple H kind of feel, I guess.
Until I saw another tweet that was interesting that said until he racially abuses an opponent in a storyline and then beats them after hitting his finisher for 18 and laying there for 18 seconds, he will never be Triple H. And I'm like, fair.
Yeah. Yeah, and he hasn't done anything Katie Vick like yet, so
No, no. And he has not formed D-Generation X with his brother Goldust. So we, yeah. So like right now he's at Jeff Jarrett territory.
yeah, yeah, he's Jeff Jarrett at worst right now.
Yes.
But
So we love Cody though.
yeah,
But we
Cody's
have to
great.
make fun of him every podcast just because.
But Cody's great, yeah. But to sign this contract, the Hardys here, they need to go to the sanctuary of their Genesis.
He said, and then he yelled, "Follow me!" Like, and then stormed off all of a sudden, like shuffling his feet, like, oh my god, he's like, I from SpongeBob when SpongeBob went into his dream sequence, and Gary was like a very sophisticated,
Oh
um,
yeah.
like man, that's exactly what I picture with Matt Hardy. He's
Oh,
Gary as a fucking person.
that's so funny. Oh my God. But so they go to the sanctuary of their Genesis, which is the first ring they had when they were Omega, I guess, when they were doing their local shows. And they're in a little like garage, an extended garage behind Matt Hardy's house to
Yeah,
sign
almost
this.
almost like a barn type thing, and that's eventually where where they will hold total nonstop deletion.
Yeah, it's about as big as the impact zone, so it kind of worked out.
Yeah, that thing is pretty massive, but we also get the first sighting of the legend himself, Senior Benjamin.
Yes, Senor Benjamin, what a fucking amazing character for this storyline because it just everything about it is hilarious that he's involved with.
The best part is the fact that that is Matt Hardy's real life father-in-law.
That's what I thought. I couldn't remember if that was 100% true or not, but that's even better.
Yeah, that's it. That's just his father-in-law who they're like, "Hey, how about you be our assistant essentially? Like he does everything."
He prepares the battlefield, so he has a very big job here with the Hardy family.
Yeah, he just like he like Matt, even though he's married in, like he's an in-law, he still fits in so well with them because he's like, all right, let me get the weapons and get the fireworks, and I got this.
Oh my God. So they get the Senor Benjamin sighting as they walk in. He is gardening outside the Hardy sanctuary of their Genesis, and they go in, and Matt slides into the ring, and he's like, "This is where it all started, brother Nero. This is where you started your journey." And he's like, "We have to end it here in this ring." So Jeff like goes to get in, but Matt slides out all scared because Jeff wants to end it right now.
Yes, and he goes right behind a conveniently placed circular table where the contract is, and you know nobody's going to go through that table because it is circular and has a big old leg in the middle of the table. So you know nobody's going to go through it, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is a very weird table to use there because it did throw you off. You're
It
like, "Oh,
did.
they're actually just going to sign this," but the Hardys are crazy, so they do use it.
Yes. So Matt ends up signing the deal to fight Jeff at Slammiversary. And he's like, I will fight you, but I'll fight you at Slammiversary. And Jeff says, all right, big money, Matt. You and your sarcastic ass get in the ring and fight me now.
After they sign the contract, he's like, "We're still fighting now,"
Yeah.
and
By the
and
way, Jeff does not know what sarcastic means because I think Matt appeared as very genuine throughout this entire thing.
he just, everything Jeff does is just great, and he yelled it too. He had to yell
Yeah.
it.
Yo,
So
yo, sarcastic. I can't do the Jeff Hardy accent right now. I'm very tired.
so they they make their way back into the ring here, and Rebby returns. She comes through the door holding like the hangover baby Carlos looking chest thing with what we are led to believe is King Maxwell.
Yes, and she does the dramatic move of yelling Jeff and tossing the baby at Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy standing on the outside of the ring on the apron, and she just throws this, and Jeff catches it, showing his hands, and he catches it, and it's a fake baby, and he screams, "What is wrong with you?"
Jeff does a lot of yelling here,
He
as we
does.
could tell, but as he's distracted, Matt breaks some sort of glass bottle over the back of Jeff's head.
Yeah, he knocks him almost out cold. He's like staggered on the apron, and this gets Matt to the position where he can hit a slow motion bottom through the table that has the leg in the middle, which means there's no give.
The table just completely like falls to the side and collapses on top of them, which would be a horrible it was like a horrible landing. Like Matt tried to protect Jeff as much as possible, but that had to have hurt.
And they could have definitely shot this. Like there was concrete under them. Like they didn't put any padding. You could
Right.
see, and they could have definitely shot it in a way where you wouldn't have seen the ground. You
Right.
could just saw the table break, but instead the Hardys again are crazy, so they just did it anyways.
I appreciated it. It was like especially the way that it broke, it just the top just snapped off. It wasn't like one half snapped off and gave way. Like the top just snapped off and flipped on top of them.
It it was one of the best table spots I've seen, just because it was such a different type of table to use.
Right. And there was dramatic music playing in the background.
Yeah, just we didn't even touch on the score, the music that they had going when Jeff Hardy like to Matt.
Amazing.
Oh my god. So this contract signing set in motion the road to the final deletion with Jeff and Matt Hardy fighting at Matt's house.
Yes. We had actually a few matches in between that I didn't see. Like they put them in two singles matches in between the final deletion, and they were both gimmick matches. Jeff won a Full Metal Mayhem over Matt at Slammiversary, which is essentially, tables, ladders, and chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jeff beat him in a steel cage on Impact.
That's very. It must have just been Impact trying to pop a rating, because I think this is when they had just moved to Pop.
Right.
So I think they were just throwing the whole, as our friend Shaka said one time on commentary, they were throwing the whole book at him.
It's always good when we get a Shaka reference
Yes,
on the podcast.
great person.
Yeah, great guy. We love you, Shaka, even though you're absolutely not listening. But
Yeah, but they were just trying, because they did shit like that like every other week. Like they'd have some like big match, like Bram at one point when he was like the X Division or whatever he was doing. Like he was having hardcore matches every week.
yeah, I remember they were doing cage matches a lot too. I think that's when they were doing the pay-per-views on Impact, right? Like the big
Yes.
shows.
Yeah,
Okay.
like every 3 weeks they'd be like Victory Road on Impact, or whatever gimmick it was going to be that week.
Right. An interesting setup. It led to a lot of good stuff on television, though.
Yeah, you got a lot. I mean, they gave away the this. I think this was before, or it was either. I think it was before this. It had to have been where they gave the Hardys, Wolves, and Team 3D, and it
Yeah.
was like 7 matches straight on TV.
Yeah, and they were all with some sort of gimmick, like a tables match, a ladder match, a TLC match, and it was all on TV.
And they were all like at least 3-star matches.
Right. Oh, there was some excellent stuff. Like that would be fun to cover in our hidden gems.
Oh my
But
god, there's some of those that were just insane for
right,
what they were doing.
right, absolutely. Like, and these guys were older too, other than the Wolves. Like, then they're still out there taking ridiculous risks for. Well, the Hardys are probably getting paid a ton compared to everybody else, but
Yeah, I remember that was when I was actually like I set out time in my week to watch Impact, because they were giving away so many good matches. It was like, even if the stories suck, you got something good to look forward to.
right, absolutely. And like at this time, you had Bobby Lashley as world champion. He was really coming into his own. You had Eddie Edwards too, near the top of the company. I think he had a feud with Davey Richards like not that long before. So there was some good stuff on there.
Yeah, and
Um,
like I think Joe was still there. Loki and MVP were there, and Drew Galloway I think came like right around this time too.
yeah,
So there was a
and
lot happening.
yeah, there was an Angle had just left, but anyway, Matt and Jeff had this where finally Matt had challenged Jeff to a final battle in Cameron, North Carolina, and the winner would get sole control over the Hardy brand, which is big money there. Big money Matt knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Big Money Matt, he has become broken, but he still knows how to get the finances right. He's putting the Hardy name on the line in the final deletion, which this fucking match, I've never seen any match start the way that this whole segment did.
Oh my God. You mean the Fiesta?
Yes, the Fiesta. That's what I mean.
Oh Lord. So I think Impact kicked off with a fiesta. They're having, and it says fiesta in colorful letters on the one of the streamers. So it's a fiesta, not just a normal party, which you mean shit is about to go down.
Yeah, they have the Fiesta for the first birthday of King Maxwell, and they have it, of course, in the sanctuary of their Genesis, with the ring decorated and everything.
That's such a Hardy's birthday. Like,
It's ridiculous. So Senor Benjamin shows up during this party where Maxwell's just sitting there not knowing that he's being filmed for a million people to watch. And Senor Benjamin, who's his shoot grandpa, comes in and gives him a xylophone. And Matt Hardy is very excited by that.
he is. He's super happy about it, even though Benjamin had asked Rebby in Spanish, like, is Matt sick? And Rebby's like, Matt is motivated, not sick.
Oh my god.
She's just enabling him to whatever the fuck's going on here.
She's just fucking all in on it at this point.
Yep, she's like, that's my man. I got to support him, even though he's talking like he's from Transylvania.
Even though he's about to play Dracula in a live action remake, he's ready to go.
So,
oh my god. Senor Benjamin though, the gift giver.
yeah, he's excellent. Oh, the gift giver thing reminds me of that thing that you sent me, the Joey Janela one. The entrance song came in with that Indian guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a I forget what song it's called, but if you YouTube Very Good Bad Boy, it's like a song, and Joey Janela had once shared it, and he said this is like the vibes for like 2019 or something. And this guy has one of the songs I've ever heard in my life.
It's incredible. I'll try to post it. If you could send me the link again, I'll post it on Twitter.
He at one point says that he's a good learner but a perfect teacher.
Oh God,
it's amazing.
Love it. So Rebby asks Matt where his gift is, only for Matt to go on a tangent. It's saying about how his gift to his 1-year-old son is to expunge the evil enigma of Brother Nero from the Hardy family tree.
Yes, that's gonna help him tremendously later in life. King Maxwell is gonna have the evil of his uncle Jeff Hardy expunged, and this is where the I think Matt declares that it is finally time and that the deletion will be taking place at sundown.
And that's it's big news here. They also make a big deal about the birthday candle too, where the candle on Maxwell's birthday cake will never be extinguished for all of eternity until it goes out when Brother Nero is finally deleted. So he contradicts himself there.
Yeah, that's the only way it can be extinguished is once Brother Nero's been expunged.
Yes, it's like the eternal flame, like on John F. Kennedy's grave. I don't know if I told you that story about how we went to Washington in the middle of like this horrible rainstorm, and the first place that we went was Arlington National Cemetery to visit JFK's grave.
Yeah.
And my dad had to explain to 5-year-old me why the eternal flame that was always supposed to burn was out.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so that's insane, because I've been there and it wasn't raining when I was there, and it was lit, but oh my god, that's fucking hilarious.
And the next we ended up going back like later in the trip, and it was like back on, but
it's eternal except when there's a rainstorm.
So
that's funny.
So that's essentially what's going on here with the birthday candle.
Oh my god.
So Matt Hardy with the iconic line here to close it all out: Senor Benjamin, prepare the battlefield for massacre.
Oh my god. And he's like, yes sir, this is a normal request, I will go do that.
Like, I've done this like 5, man. I'm a pro.
Yeah, so now we see Jeff Hardy, who is cutting patterns into his lawn because that's what everyone does for fun. And he's doing like some kind of weird, like tribal flame looking thing. And then he goes to play his guitar and relax, only to be interrupted by Vanguard 1, Matt Hardy's drone.
The debut of Vanguard 1, the legend himself.
Yes, and he didn't come alone. He brought small drone friends to Jeff Hardy's house.
And one of them leads a home invasion on Jeff Hardy, entering his house as Vanguard 1 stalks him from afar.
Yeah, so there's like 10 little drones that show up, And while Jeff Hardy's playing the guitar, he turns it into a sword and starts swatting drones out of his house, which is, I didn't know this happened. This was not in my mind when I was remembering this. And that was fucking great because they do like a slow motion of him destroying one of these drones with the guitar, giving his best Jeff Jarrett impression.
Except the guitar didn't shatter upon impact, which was disappointing. But so it was a shoot guitar there. I wonder how much money they spent on that drone just to destroy it.
I'm hoping it was like one of them Walmart drones. It was like a $25 one.
Right.
But if
Yep.
not, good for them.
Yep. Just spending the big bucks, man. Big money Matt spending big money on his drones. So we get Vanguard 1 shows a hologram of Matt Hardy because this is completely normal. And it challenging him to appear at the property line that night for the final deletion.
Yeah, and Matt Hardy's, hologram head looking like Zordon from Power Rangers. He shows up and he's talking to Jeff, and this makes Jeff chase Vanguard 1 off his property on a I think he got on the motorcycle for it.
He
Or on
did.
the dirt bike.
Yes, he was like Harry Potter playing Quidditch, like where he's on the broom, but instead he was on a motorcycle trying to catch Vanguard with his bare hands, and Vanguard ended up flying over a lake, so they couldn't get him.
Yeah, and that made Jeff Hardy very angry again. He yelled, "Oh, hell no!" as Vanguard 1 got away.
And because of this, Jeff left his yard for Matt, so Matt was able to steal gasoline from him. Because apparently, even though he's willing to invest in drones and such, he has to steal gasoline from his brother.
I didn't realize he was at Jeff's house to steal the gasoline. I
Yeah,
thought it was just. Oh,
I
wow.
I originally thought that he was at his own house too, but then I'm like, wait a minute, that's Jeff's house, and he ruined Jeff's lawn to add insult to injury. Like he rode it and like cut all the way through the perfect design lawn.
Oh, I thought that was at Jeff's, or I thought that was Matt's house where he was just doing his own lawn
No,
for no
no.
reason.
No, he was stealing gasoline from Jeff and then destroying his lawn to add insult to injury.
Oh, okay. Because he said he dropped a great line here, which I never thought would be said in wrestling. He says that Jeff isn't the only landscaper in this family, and then starts riding a lawnmower Creed style with arms wide open.
I wrote that down. I wrote down with arms wide open. Shout out to Creed.
I'm glad we saw that and realized the same thing. I could see. Do you think Matt listens to Creed?
Absolutely. He seems like that type of guy where he's a big fan of Scott Stapp.
I could see it. Oh my god! But he's just riding this fucking lawnmower for no reason. There's no reason this should have happened in the whole thing, but it's. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it has to do with pro wrestling, but it's excellent when it comes to building up whatever the fuck this match is.
Yeah, and I mean we're building this up big. They're preparing for massacre here. Senor Benjamin is prepping the fields, where Matt comes and gives him the stolen gasoline, and says to use it generously or something through the through
Yeah,
the.
yeah. And the best thing to set it up was Rebbe asked, Senor Benjamin, what are you doing? And he said, preparing the battlefield for massacre, like in the calmest voice.
He was like,
Oh,
"This is just what I do."
So, yeah, Matt brings the gasoline from his earlier landscaping escapades.
Yes,
Yeah,
just the way he says that is so ridiculous.
and generously douses the field, and it takes a lot of fuel to delete a brother Nero.
Yes, obviously he knows how much fuel it would take because he's just done this before at some point in his
Yes.
life.
Yeah, he's like, listen, I tried to light Jeff on fire many a time during our childhood, so I know what to do.
So we're getting the time for the final deletion is drawing near. The Impact ref shows up in his personal vehicle, and he's told he is told that he's not responsible for what happens here and not to resuscitate Jeff, which
Because
is just terrible.
Yeah, he's like, listen, if I murder him, there's nothing you can do.
No, there's nothing. And then this is where the ref and Matt are in the ring, and
Yes.
to get Brother Nero to show up, he doesn't just, have Vanguard 1 tell him. He has to play a violin that was gifted to him by, I'm guessing, somebody that's a famous violin player.
Yeah, I think Stradivari, whoever, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I'm pretty sure he's like that's like the nicest violin that there is.
Oh, okay.
I think it might be named after. I might be wrong though. If there are any violin players listening to the podcast, please let us know.
Yeah, because I have no idea. I
Yeah,
couldn't tell you.
yeah, but he has the most dramatic fucking violin riff that I've ever heard in my entire life.
He's just playing Brother Nero to the field, and Jeff Hardy finally shows up, and we get some in-ring action here to start the final deletion.
Oh, but before that, we get the iconic line yet again. Jeff pulls up on his motorcycle, and we get, "Brother Nero, I knew you'd come."
Oh yeah, he did. I like completely forgot that we had to see Jeff Hardy on his dirt bike for the third time in this stuff already. But yeah, so once they get there, we have the in-ring action. We get a lot of punching and kicking, pretty much. But you do get a superplex by Jeff to Matt.
Yes, 20 seconds into the match, you get a superplex. And I think we got to make it clear, too, to those who haven't watched it, that they edit this like it's a movie, like where they do the dramatic music in the background, but also with the cuts as well. Like they don't give things time where like guys are laying down to sell for the most part. It's like you go from one move and then you cut right to the next one.
Yeah. So there's the in-ring action here is like 2 minutes, like for everything that happens. And I mean, there's a decent amount of stuff that happens, but they have no downtime really in between. Just enough to show that the one person is hurt from the move.
Right, and it makes it really exciting, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely fast paced. It keeps your attention instead of just watching Matt, roll around for 30 seconds after the suplex. But you get some other stuff. We get some kind of stick looking board. I don't know exactly what that was. It looked like sticks all strewn together.
Yeah, I was trying to Google what the word was for it, but I just wrote vine boards, like because there were vines all over it. It almost looked like it was part of a trellis, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but Matt is slammed into it, and there's tiki torches lit around the ring, which is amazing. And they are hitting each other with kendo sticks. They have a roofing ladder, not like the standard ladder where you both can climb it, but a straight up roofing ladder that Senor Benjamin probably put the shingles on with. There's just a
Yeah.
lot happening.
Yeah, they break that out, and he starts to choke Jeff with the ladder and screams "delete" at him as he does it.
Yes, he does. And then Jeff finally gets the upper hand where he hits the twist of fate and then a swanton, but Matt kicks out here because he will not be denied. He will not be deleted in his own creation.
Yes, this is Matt is going Super Saiyan up on in this bitch here, and Jeff ends up hitting the twist of stunner as well. Like he gets the twist of fate version where he sits down instead, and it sets up Matt on the roof or on the one of the big ladders on which is positioned on top of the second turnbuckle. So he's laying like parallel to the ground on the second turnbuckle on the ladder.
Yes, and then Jeff climbs a nonchalant ladder that was up against a like 10-foot tree, and he gets onto a branch and swantons Matt, who is laying in the ring off the tree and on the ladder, but he actually hits it, which I couldn't believe. I thought he wouldn't hit it at all. And then Matt kicks out of probably the biggest swanton in history.
Yeah, I forgot that had happened. I'm like, oh my god, how are they going to get him out of this? And he just kicks out. I'm like, Matt is looking strong as hell here.
Yeah, Matt putting himself over, giving himself the Cody Rhodes treatment right now. And the only way to turn this fight in his favor is to pull out a foreign object that I don't think we've ever seen used on another wrestler.
No, I hadn't seen it before this, but they both sell. Matt hits the desperation chair shot and then pulls out the weapon itself, fireworks.
And we're not talking about like little firecrackers. We're talking about like a 3 foot long Roman candle with a bunch of shots in it, probably like 10 or 15 shots. And he points it at Jeff, and Jeff's like, Jeff yells, Matt's yelling to lead, and Jeff is yelling, "What is wrong with you?" as he's running away and taking cover behind. He has like a trash can lid, and he's using it as a shield, like he's a knight.
Oh my god. Just I remember watching this match. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. Like the first time I saw it, like this is really cool. And then I saw that, I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, this just went right off the rails. Like this was all pretty much a standard wrestling match with some backyard elements at first. And
Right.
then we just start firing fucking flammable firecrackers at each other.
So the battlefield is covered with smoke, and it's like part of it's on fire because remember Benjamin generously used gasoline all over the
Hmm.
field.
He did.
And Matt stalks Jeff with a rake at this point, like he's about to rake him. With like the imagine the back rake with an
I
actual
was just
rake.
gonna say, wow, that would have been incredible.
Yep, just absolute the back rake, the face rake, but until he screams, "Oh shit!" because Jeff now has fireworks.
Yeah, Jeff somehow has found a Roman candle himself and turns and takes aim at Matt, and Matt is running and hides behind the dilapidated boat.
Which for a dilapidated boat is in pretty decent shape.
Yes, it's like his, I don't know, they must have a little lake and they go fishing or something because it's just sitting there every time by the lake of reincarnation.
They do. I'll actually have something to add about that later. But Skarsgård, which is eventually the name of the dilapidated boat. Yeah, because you have to name the boat after all.
Yeah, and the best part about this is he's running from the fireworks and he yells, "Look, a dilapidated boat!"
And immediately takes cover underneath it. Which somehow this dilapidated boat is strong enough to fight off these Roman candles because Matt is completely unscathed.
Yeah, he's just fine. What a resourceful move by Matt Hardy to find this boat. And with this whole thing happening here, they end up both going into the lake, which we now figure out is the Lake of Reincarnation.
Which means it's the bringer of gimmicks past.
Yes, it's a great idea. Absolutely love it. But
Fantastic. They do a lot of good stuff with this, but Matt, it looks like he drowns Brother Nero in the lake, and Matt yells that Brother Nero has been flushed, only for an excellent moment to pop up here, which I remember watching this for the first time, and even watching it here, I popped very hard.
oh yeah, and once Brother Nero has been flushed, out comes Willow in full gear out of the lake, just ready to take Matt down, and he's choking him with the umbrella, and it looks like he is going to take Matt out until Senor Benjamin comes in for the save.
Yes, this man comes in despite the fact that both men are covered with water now. He decides to bring out the taser and tases the shit out of poor Jeff Hardy, effectively killing him, essentially.
Yeah, he literally just tases Willow. This is I can't believe we have a taser, we have fireworks, we have a lake of reincarnation. There's a lot happening in one match. You know, they didn't establish this over a period of time. This is all being brought to you in one match.
Yes, and they do have some good long-term storytelling at the end, but like for the most part, yeah, they're just throwing this shit in. They're like, what is the craziest things that we can do?
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, the idea probably was supposed to end here,
Yeah,
but then it got
because
so over that it kept going.
right, because they never this was the last match I think they had between the two of them.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that's the last one because then they moved to where they're allies. So
Yeah. So this is pretty crazy that they finally got a good match together after like 20 years of trying.
Yeah, because they went to the Hardys before in WWE and TNA, and usually was okay, but not something you really remember too much.
Right, but now like this is, oh man, this there's no choice but for this to be memorable.
Yeah, and so Matt here, we think the final deletion is over after after Jeff is tased as Willow, because Matt pins Willow, only for it to be revealed that somehow Senor Benjamin was under the mask.
I don't know how that happened.
I have no idea, but I was here for it. I could not believe he took the mask off and Senor Benjamin just there.
I guess that there's shape shifting going on as well in the Broken Universe.
I I guess that's the explanation, because then Jeff, back in his clothes before the Lake of Reincarnation, attacks Matt, and they start fighting in this big pile of dirt that, this dirt pit that Senor Benjamin has prepared for them. And there's like the big Jeff Hardy cross looking symbol there. And this is where a lot of the gasoline was generously used.
Yes, so keep that in mind here. But we get they start to brawl in the dirt, and Jeff essentially does the death choke to Matt Hardy and manages to choke him out.
Yeah, he chokes him out cold, and then Jeff decides he sees his symbol, and he is going to climb it. And I guess we assume he's going to swanton him and finish this match. And Matt is in a bad way until his loving wife comes in for the save.
Right, with the aid of a flashback as well to what happened earlier in the night, with the candle being that it would never be extinguished. And we get like some shots of the Hardy Boys like back in the day too, like some pictures and everything. And we get like this will never be extinguished. And Rebby comes in and hands Matt the birthday candle.
Of course, because the only thing that could end Brother Nero is the birthday candle that is the number one. And he lights a strand of gasoline here, and it lights the logo on fire that Jeff Hardy is on top of, causing him to fall seemingly 8 feet probably to his demise, where Matt is then able to pin him.
Yes, right into the dirt mound. It's a heck of a bump there. It looks like a heck of a bump because they zoom in like from 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
Or I mean, they zoom out, I should say.
it looks like it's some massive like 2-story high thing. It's probably 6 feet
Yeah,
in real life,
like
but still.
it was less of a crazy bump than he took from the tree, I would say.
Yeah, I would think that would be less, but they did a good camera work trick there to make it look like he fell 100 feet. But Matt is victorious, so that
Yep.
means that Brother Nero is no more.
Man, what was your opinion on this match?
Oh, this was something, man. I don't know which one I like the most out of the three we watched, because we're also going to cover the Delete or Decay next, and the Tag Team Apocalypto. But I honestly, I don't know which one was my favorite.
I think that one of my favorites, which it sucks that we didn't get to cover here because I would have loved to have done it, but it wasn't available anywhere, was the Great War that Hardys and Decay had a Bound for Glory, because they did like the cinematic stuff, but they also had a hardcore match in the ring. Like they blended it
Okay.
together, and it was fucking awesome.
I don't remember that one that much. I'm gonna have to do some research, and we gotta try to find it on some like random ass site somewhere.
Yeah, because listen, Impact Plus, it's not really good when it comes to like the navigation of the website from the last time that I used it. So we've shaped this together mostly through YouTube.
Yeah, we've been trying to. I mean, I was an Impact Plus subscriber, but it was
Same.
just like hard to. Yeah, navigating it was not easy compared to the
Right.
network.
Right. It's the network is just Impact has they have a lot to work on essentially. But there was a lot that happened after this match. I did watch a segment, the aftermath of the final deletion on YouTube, where Matt went out to the lake on Skarsgård after naming Skarsgård and threw away Brother Nero's stuff, like the Willow stuff, the shirt that he wore to the brawl, and he threw it in the lake.
Okay.
So that happened, and they had like this In the Pines music playing, which ends up coming back in Delete or Decay. But they also had a watch party for the final deletion. Like he
Amazing.
made his servants sit down and watch, and and Matt screamed at the TV, "I just deleted your ass."
Oh yeah, I remember that. I vaguely remember that. That's amazing. Did he make Brother Nero watch it?
No, Brother Nero wasn't there yet, but
Damn.
I was gonna get into the fact where then Matt had Brother Nero and essentially treated him like a slave because Brother Nero was now his property.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, he slowly lost his identity, only to be rebuilt in Matt Hardy's image.
yes, which is a great heel angle, but they finally got to the point where Matt forced Jeff to team with him. I think they beat a few tag teams to get a shot at Decay, and this is when in real life the angle started to get over even more so, where Matt was getting babyface pops.
Yeah, everybody started to love this after whatever this was, like 2 months or so,
Yeah.
and they just decided this was like the hottest thing in wrestling, and they were going to run with this as long as the Hardys were there. And their feud with the Decay, which I kind of forgot the Decay was a thing, was pretty good though.
It was. I highly enjoyed the next segment that we've done or that we're doing is the Delete or Decay.
Yeah, and this is this is a tag team match here. Or is it a 6-man 6-person tag
It,
technically?
it is neither. It is a home invasion.
So it's
It's
not an actual official match.
no, there was no referee there.
Oh, wow, I didn't even realize. So there's a home invasion on the Hardy compound here between Rosemary, Crazy Steve, and Abyss, who are the Decay, and the many faces of Abyss. I can't believe that he also had a painted face, Abyss, at one point.
He looked really like it was a good look for him, I think, because he looked terrifying.
Yeah, this was actually a very good like use of Abyss after not having him just be the hardcore monster. Like this was a little bit of a good evolution.
Right. Yeah, I think had good chemistry with Crazy Steve and Rosemary. I think Rosemary really made the team though. Like I
Mhm.
really think I watch, a lot of her matches and her angles in TNA and she's really good.
Yeah, definitely. She definitely played. She was probably the most over female in the company at this point, besides for maybe like Mickey James if she was still there.
Yeah, I can't remember if she was or not, but because she might have got thrown in front of a train at that point.
Oh yeah, yeah, that happened. Forgot
Yeah,
about that.
yeah,
Um,
that happened. We'll move past it.
so the leader decay here. This all starts with Senor Benjamin again giving but this time he gives the "Don't try this at home"
Yes.
little thing in Spanish, which was great. And then we see like I guess a flashback of when Rosemary was in the house and threw a fake baby, which we were supposed to believe is King Maxwell, off a balcony.
Yes.
And
Off the ledge, and Rebby Sky showed her hands there. Rebby Hardy, I should say, showed her hands there by making a hell of a catch on the fake baby.
yes, she made a great catch. A good. It was like a punt. It was a fair catch there, and she is angry, obviously, because some woman just thought she was throwing her baby off a ledge, and tells Senor Benjamin to prepare the battlefield for massacre.
Oh, it's getting real when that happens.
You don't cross a mother. She's ready.
So we get to the point where um, Rebby is playing obsolete as some opera singer sings it. Very dramatic as we get Benjamin digging graves for the decay.
He's just out here digging graves on the Hardy compound. And then we see Matt and Jeff, well, Matt and Brother Nero and Rebby and Senor Benjamin and all the Hardy gang, where he then tells Senor Benjamin to prepare the zoo.
Yes. Like I remember watching this and trying to figure out what the hell is he talking about here.
Yeah, and I don't know why this was in the fucking thing at all, but it worked out. It was funny. So it worked, but this was so
Yes.
random.
Yes, well they had to get the information from Genghis Khan the tiger that Decay was coming that night to fight them.
Yes. So this zoo that is being prepared with the animals, all of these animals, according to Matt Hardy, have the souls of like former leaders and great men, I guess, and he can communicate them. His soul can communicate with their soul.
I'm just listening to this and trying to and like I watched this and I still can't believe it happened.
So the giraffe is George Washington at the
Yes.
zoo, and he communicates with George. They have a kangaroo who is set up for a sparring match with Brother Nero, who is actually Smoking Joe Frazier.
Who I think is still alive.
Is he? I don't even know. I
I
mean,
don't think he had died at this time though. Like if he hasn't died, like I don't think he was. I think he was still alive at the time of this report that
uh,
this
no,
happened.
he had passed away in 2011. I just had
Oh
to.
really?
So then he,
That's news to
ca-
me.
yeah, he came back to fight Jeff Hardy and get him ready for this.
Yes. Shout out to Smoking Joe Frazier.
Wow. So Jeff Hardy spars with this kangaroo who has embodied the spirit of Smoking Joe Frazier. What am I even saying? I
Oh, this was
this
a
whole
mess.
thing is this is making my head hurt. But so then they go to a monkey cage which has like 8 monkeys in it, and he said he has named them all for they all have nicknames, but they're just spot monkeys, so they don't actually have souls of famous people. And he
Yes.
has named them Mandrews and Andrew Everett and some of the other X Division,
DJZ. Yeah.
DJZ, the Bucks
And
of
then
Youth.
the Bucks of Youth was the best one because this was like a big deal in the internet community. Like when him taking shots of the Young Bucks, but it set up a future match with the two of them too. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, so the Bucks of Youth were there, but then they turned to a tiger who Tiger King Matt Hardy here. You got the Tigers Genghis Khan, who then tells them that the Decay are in Cameron, North Carolina.
And we'll be there that night. So that's the reason for this segment is Genghis Khan had to tell them with his infinite wisdom.
Yes, the General Genghis Khan, of course, he knows that these people are coming for the Hardys, but we then see a cut to a random truck driver who sees Rosemary in the road. Uh, and of course, he would stop, even though this woman is face painted and looks like a zombie. But he stops and thinks that she's somebody that could be picked up. So that's something.
Yeah, the sketchy dude hits on her and essentially ends up just being distracted by the beauty of Rosemary. Like you said, she's looking like straight out of Zombieland here, and it distracts him just long enough for Crazy Steve and Abyss to carjack him.
Yes, Crazy Steve and Abyss carjack him and leave him with like his pants pulled down in the road. I don't know exactly what we were supposed to assume happened to this man, but
We'll just move past it.
yeah, so he's left in the middle of the road. We presume that he was run over by someone after this. I don't even know.
But he
But
does
they
make an appearance for Tag Team Apocalypto, so he survives.
wait, does he? I didn't realize that was the
He was
same
part of the
guy.
DCC. Yeah,
Oh my God. Wow. Good for him.
storytelling,
Uh,
storytelling.
so he survived, so that's good. But Abyss is driving and he says, "I've heard Cameron is beautiful this time of year."
In the same voice that he said, we're here for a great cause today," as he carried Janice to the ring at the Dropkick for Diabetes show that we went to.
Oh my God. Abyss, great guy, man.
Great
But
human being.
so after Abyss drives them to the house, we have the Decay stalking the Hardy home, only for the three Hardys, Rebby, Brother Nero and Matt to turn and shoot fireworks at them to get them out of the way of King Maxwell.
Yes, and this was after Matt Hardy, of course, dropped the line yet again, which it actually fit. This is the only time that it fit was when the Decay was like stalking King Maxwell through the window. He said, "Decay, I knew you'd come."
Yes, and he was just standing there like outside, like next to them, even though they didn't see him
I
as they
love
were
it.
stalking his child. But Rebby, after they they fight off the Decay with the fireworks. Revy is sent back to protect Maxwell, and Brother Nero and Jeff, or Brother Nero and Matt, are sent. They go to fight the rest of the Decay.
And so the Decay decide to bolt, and they decide to use Skarsgård as a shield, and Abyss holds it up like he picks up this heavy ass boat and manages to hold it up and urges Steve and Rosemary to go to the house as he's going to hold down the fort, which is a very baby faced thing of him to do.
Yeah, he was like it was like a Lord of the Rings moment or something. He was like, "Frodo, you take the ring. I'm gonna fight to the death." But instead of fighting to the death, he is this where Jeff hits the shotgun drop kick on the boat?
Yes.
Oh my god, a fucking amazing scene. He shotgun drop kicks the boat, and then Abyss goes into the lake of reincarnation.
And that will he took a hell of a bump into that lake too, like big Abyss dropping the bumps down. But um, he ends up popping out because Senor Benjamin, Matt says, "Senor Benjamin, get the boat. I have to." He's gonna go after Rosemary now, and Senor Benjamin lifts the boat, and Joseph Park emerges from the lake of reincarnation.
Joseph Park in full suit and slicked back hair, and he's like, "Have you seen my brother Abyss anywhere?" Only to be tased by Senor Benjamin, anyways.
I did not expect that because I mean Joseph Park just wanted a hug. That's all he wanted.
Yeah, he was gonna hug Senor Benjamin, but instead he took, 10,000 volts of electric shock to the chest.
And he gets put in the I don't know the word for it, but essentially he gets put into the bulldozer. Like I can't think of the word, but like um the shovel. Oh, duh, the shovel of the bulldozer. Like he gets
Yes.
put in it, and Senor Benjamin cackles and carries him away on this bulldozer, which I don't know where the bulldozer came from, but
I,
I guess apparently, um, Senor Benjamin must have been a construction worker in the past.
I guess. I guess they just have all these things so that Jeff can build his dirt bike ramps. And so then we have Matt, goes to look for Rosemary, and we see Crazy Steve and Jeff fighting near the pool. And then in the pool too, they go in and are fighting underwater in like a very cool little scene there.
Right, and did you see the how Jeff put Crazy Steve into the pool with that gourd buster? Like it looked like he was gonna spike him onto his head.
Yeah, he gave him the like the sit out suplex kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
That was pretty good. This was some good stuff there.
yeah. I would have liked to see a singles match between the two of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. Crazy Steve, like I don't know what he's doing now, but he was really good in this.
He was back with TNA for a little while, like just this year. I don't
Oh,
know if
awesome.
he's still doing it or what, but I haven't watched Impact in a while. But
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but he definitely wasn't bad. And so this whole fighting in the pool was a good little spot. Jeff finally fights him off and is sitting on the edge of the pool, like taking a breather, only for Steve to do the horror movie thing and pull him back down under.
it's very dramatic. I was not expecting it, to be honest.
No, I wasn't ready for it either. And there's just so much happening because they do so many quick cuts here. Then we get Abyss grabbing Senor Benjamin and trying to hit Matt with Janice. Only for this is where Jeff turns and helps his brother.
Yes, this was the dramatic moment where Brother Nero sacrificed himself and gets hit with Janice instead, allowing Matt to look after his own, his family. But this is a moment that turns Matt babyface officially because he realizes he's like, that was so unselfish of you.
Yes, he realizes that Brother Nero has come to his aid and has turned and is now going to be a broken hearty and embrace the role. So good stuff here. Good storytelling.
Yes, I love it, and and I bet this was one of the big plot points in the storytelling as well for the Hardys, because I'm sure Matt, I would love to have figured out like heard about how they set the storyline up, like what points they did, because this was just absolutely. I mean, the storyline is bonkers, but
Yeah,
absolutely excellent storytelling.
absolutely. So Jeff is incapacitated and Matt is about to be, fighting Abyss here when Vanguard 1 shows up and is now attacking with fireworks and lighting the field on fire.
Vanguard one come in for the save, man. I love that they get a military grade drone that can shoot fireworks. Like
And
I
it
don't
has
know where
like the subtitles with it on some things where like I think in the tag team Apocalypto it says like boo yeah AF or something after it shoots at people.
well the because well this Vanguard one ends up popping up with it says put down the boy witch to Rosemary at some point.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Oh my God. So after Vanguard 1 lights the field on fire, Vanguard 1 was really working overtime tonight. Rosemary we see has taken out Rebby and has King Maxwell, only for Vanguard 1 to approach her and say stop. And then she hits it with the mist.
The red mist too. Like that's the worst type of well, the black mist is the worst type of mist that makes you go permanently blind.
Does it?
Yeah, Tajiri did it to Nydia on SmackDown.
Oh, I didn't know this happened.
Yes, and she went like permanently blind. So the
So
black
so the
mist is the
the
worst.
color of the mist. So what's green? Is it like a poison?
I think green is like poison mist. I think red mist is supposed to be burning mist. Like it burns your
Oh,
eyes, and then the black mist makes you go blind.
okay.
Which is
Well,
wild that this is like I remember reading this off of Wikipedia and being so shocked.
that's good to know.
It is.
So,
In case you ever have to spit poison mist at somebody,
yeah, this is
you
good to
know
know.
which
I
one to
got You got to
use.
pick the right color. Oh God. So Rosemary, after she incapacitates Vanguard 1 with the red mist, Matt confronts her and she goes to do the mist again, only for Matt to inhale it and spit it back into her face, which this would, if this was now, they would easily have transmitted coronavirus. But instead, this was okay because it was like 2015 or 16, and he spits it back at her, completely
And
saving King Maxwell and ending the deleter decay.
yes, she like wails and runs away, and Matt looks very pleased with himself, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I did that."
Dude, like this was the most I didn't know that happened. I vaguely remembered it, but I saw that and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? That was amazing. The fact that she ran like she was like the Wicked Witch of the West and was melting. Like, oh my God.
I wish, man, they missed the opportunity to throw water on Rosemary and then make her melt.
God, there's so much that happened here. And they could have done that because Rosemary wasn't in the tag team Apocalypto.
It's true. So it could have happened, but anyway, the thing ends with the Hardys actually pretty much, even though Matt managed to save his child and his wife, the Hardys are pretty much, for better lack of a term, broken because Senior Benjamin has been kidnapped and thrown in the back of a truck. Brother Nero has been mutilated by Janice, and nobody knows where Vanguard One is.
Yeah, they're just in shambles. We don't know what's going to happen with the broken Hardys, but we do know that they eventually recover.
Yes, I actually watched another video, the aftermath of the Delete or Decay, where Matt brings Jeff Hardy in a wheelchair to the Lake of Reincarnation and throws him in. Do you know who comes out of the Lake of Reincarnation?
Oh, it's the yes, it's the immortal one. The
Yes,
immortal Jeff Hardy.
the Antichrist of professional wrestling. He's in the suit. He lights up a cigarette. He has his old belt. It's amazing. So and then Matt immediately throws him back into the lake because nobody wants to see that version of Jeff Hardy except me.
I would have wanted to see it. But
Yeah.
I had to explain to my brother's trying to start watching a little bit of like older Impact. He took a couple of my DVDs, or
Uh,
I think he was trying to watch the best of the X Division,
uh,
which is a good one to start with. And I was telling him about how there was a heel Jeff Hardy and the Antichrist of pro wrestling, and he's like, "Oh, I got to see if there's like a figure of him," which I hope there is. I hope that exists.
right. So, oh my God, that would be perfect. I don't know because it was only like a couple months until he had his personal demons
Yeah,
and had to leave. But I love that character. But
it had a lot
um,
of potential.
it did absolutely. It just if Matt would have or Jeff would have ran his course as a babyface, it would have been perfect timing for it.
Hmm. Yeah, for
But
sure.
but
Um,
ins- but we also get the Matt Hardy finds Vanguard 1 dead in a tree and sobs over it because but Matt prays to the seven deities to heal Vanguard 1, which they do, and Vanguard 1 gets to survive, and not only does that but helps Matt find Senior Benjamin tied up in a barn.
oh, well, that's good. I didn't know any of this happened, so I'm happy that you saw that.
Yes, it popped up on the playlist after this, so I was like, well, I might as well watch it and figure out what happened to the Hardys.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah,
So all of this that they've reclaimed their broken power. Everybody's back together so that
right.
they could have the total nonstop deletion in the near
Yeah,
future.
right. Because then they do the Great War against the Decay at Bound for Glory, which the Hardys win, and they get the tag belts. So
Hmm.
then they end up setting up the total nonstop deletion, which is the episode of TNA Impact that emanates from Cameron, North Carolina, from the Hardy compound.
Yeah, this is some legendary stuff. And it's not just the tag team Apocalypto, which is what we're covering. They also have just like a full show, which
They
is kind
do.
of crazy.
Yeah, they had. I know I think they had an X Division match. I know that they had Bobby Lashley and Eddie Edwards had a world title match that lasted like the entire night because we'll see them in Tag Team Apocalypto. And they also have the debut of King Maxwell in the wrestling ring, defeating Rockstar Spud, pinning him in the middle of the ring.
Did they have Spud lay down for him or
They had somebody lay Spud out. I can't remember who it was,
okay.
but then King Maxwell got put on top of him for the pin.
Wow. I knew he won. He's like the youngest person to ever win a match, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
But so good for King Maxwell. What a he's like Goldberg. He's hasn't lost yet.
No, he'll have the longest undefeated streak of all time because I mean, if he ever becomes a professional wrestler, he'd have to be at least like 18.
Yeah, he's gonna hold it for at least a decade. So that's good. So we got this whole tag team Apocalypto because the Broken Hardys want to prove that they are the greatest tag team of all time in space.
You have to add space in there, man. Because I mean, there could be aliens that are better than Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. You don't know.
They should have had somebody dress up as an alien in this
That would
and
have been
come out.
perfect. I what they should have did was had the Hardys come in contact with their former selves. Like the Hardys, you know how they dressed like the Young Bucks essentially, like when they first started out.
Yeah. Hmm.
They should have had them come in contact with those Hardys.
That would have been great. That would have been
Oh man,
amazing.
they missed
Oh,
an opportunity there.
yeah, but there's not a lot of missed opportunities in this match because there's a lot it was like a 40-minute match.
Yeah, this might have been my favorite of all of them. Just because holy shit, like there was so much going on here, and none of it was not entertaining.
Yeah, that's this might be my favorite too, just because my favorite moment is Jeff. Well, Jeff Hardy being angry is my favorite part of this whole thing. But I do love the mist spot. Like I think that might have been the best thing I've ever seen.
That and then the Hurricane Helms moment late with Matt later in the tag team
Yes.
Apocalypto.
Yes, that is also up there, top three of the whole story arc. But here we have they come out to the ring, the Hardys, and they have their tag titles, and they announce that the match is starting. And we have like the Helms Dynasty, which is Andrew Everett and Trevor Lee, correct?
Yes, with Gregory Helms.
And Gregory Helms is with them. The Rock and Roll Express, we have the
Love it.
Decay. Um, I
And
don't
then
know really who else. Some random ass teams that are at the Hardy Gates.
yeah, they're just waiting to be let in, and I think that it's pretty much an elimination tag match, falls count anywhere in time or space.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
no DQ, no nothing. So, but anyway, this whole show they've been having a volcano that's on the Hardy compound. What am I saying?
Yeah.
A volcano in North Carolina, I guess, that is ready to erupt. So, because Tag Team Apocalypto is about to begin, the Hardy garage slash barn slash whatever the hell it is, the arena for Impact is evacuated, and all fans and announcers have to leave.
Yeah, everybody leaves. There's like smoke and stuff that's going on, and everyone gets the hell out of there so that the match starts with and you got the Rock and Roll Express and the Hardys, the two faces. They shoot fireworks to start, and the Decay is like, "No, not again," as they run
they
away.
they show that babyface fire according to Matt Hardy, which was a fucking awesome line.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Helms immediately decides that they're all going to get the hell out of there, and they go to Helm's truck and they are running away only for Matt Hardy to spawn in the back.
And he ends up beating the shit out of Trevor Lee in the bed of the pickup truck, and at the same time they off, and Brother Nero knows that he has to go get them, so he brings the ref over and he's like, come on, you gotta come with me. And he's like, there's no helmet though. He said, you don't need a helmet, grow some balls, it's Tag Team Apocalypto.
So Jeff is has this guy riding with him on the dirt bike to count this pin in case Matt is able to do it. They end up at um outside of in like an antique store in Cameron, North Carolina.
Right in front
And
of some road signs.
yeah, and they're fighting like at the Cameron city limit sign at an antique store. Uh, It's ridiculous.
Yeah, which Shane Helms has an awesome line. He said, it's an antique store, your merch is in there.
Oh no. That's great. Oh my God. Gregory Helms is a underrated, or Shane Helms. I know he doesn't probably want to be called Gregory anymore, but
Well,
Shane Helms is great.
I think his name is actually Gregory Shane Helms.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I think he wanted to be Shane Helms though, like when they made him Gregory Helms.
Yeah, either way, GS Helms.
Yeah, big Shane Helms, Hurricane Helms, all of them.
Yep.
All his incarnations. He is just a very underrated performer.
He is like, and I'm glad they brought him in. I think he was a writer at this time too in TNA, and I think he was a writer or a producer for WWE for a while until the furloughs happened.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got a good mind for the business, and he was always a very solid wrestler too. So good for him.
Yes, and he gave the vertebraker to people.
He did. He brought that move out, and wrestling's never been the same.
No, not at all. But we also get the Decay is at the Hardy Gates and they're beating up any tag team that comes in. I forget. I don't know the name of the first tag team that challenges them, but Crazy Steve wins by giving them the Bray Wyatt neck snap.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's just like they came in. Abyss choke slammed the one dude, and then the other dude got his neck snapped and pinned.
Oh well, that's good. Um, Good way to do that. And while this is happening, Spud is shown outside the gates, even though he's already lost once tonight. And he is waiting for his big bad tag team partner, which won't be revealed till later.
Right. We get an appearance from the Bravado brothers as well of Ring of Honor fame. They're like just some I don't even know why they were here. But they
Yeah, I didn't know who they were, honestly.
yeah, they're like, I think they're supposed to be like really nerdy characters
Oh, okay.
essentially, but they didn't really have that long of a run in Ring of Honor, I don't think. But I think they wrestled in Japan for a while, but I was just surprised because like I don't think they ever showed up before or since.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So,
Huh. Weird.
but they're there, and it's probably their only appearance on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever really have them here again. So
Yeah,
I think they're from North Carolina. Maybe that's why.
that makes sense. Like, because I think a lot of these teams were like local teams.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, um that's probably why. But
Right.
so they're here, which they actually get to like have a pretty long run in this.
Right.
And but the Decay is just out here taking people out. Like they have a bunch of random tag teams getting uh is this where Abyss decides to kill someone with a rock?
Yes, it is.
He just straight up smashes someone's head with a rock and said, "This is beautiful," and pins him.
Absolutely, like fantastic. I was so shocked. I'm like, okay, he's gonna miss with this rock, right? And then they get like you get the point of view of the guy that's getting his head squished with the rock.
Yeah, they did the Negan point of view where you didn't know who got hit. Oh my
Lord.
god. What a crazy this is just ridiculous. So Spud, after that guy is sadly becomes deceased on the battlefield, we have Spud's partner show up, and Spud is hyping him up, only for it to be the legend himself, Hornswoggle,
Yes, he said the big man has arrived, and then Swoggle walked into the building.
with his King of Small Style shirt on.
Oh my god! And this is I've seen a lot of Swoggle wrestling in AIW, and he's like he the dude knows how to perform.
Yeah, he's great, dude. He always has every time he's out there, there's something that you enjoy.
Right. Like when Mordecai hit him with a completely full trash can and like bounced it off of him. It was like 10 feet in front of me. Amazing moment in professional wrestling.
Oh my god, that's insane. But they end up making it past the Decay. They just kind of scoot their way through, and we get back to the Hardys and the Helms dynasty fighting by the dilapidated boat.
Yes. And Trevor Lee hits a cool jumping knee on Matt Hardy and goes for the pin. And Matt doesn't have the energy to kick out, but does have the energy to yell out to Skarsgård to save him, which the dilapidated boat does indeed save him by hitting Trevor Lee in the head.
So I just wrote this down as Matt uses the force to move the boat. Like I don't even know we have some kind of sixth sense here. I don't even know what to even have it say. I don't even know what to describe this as.
I don't know. The boat used its bigness to take out Trevor Lee.
Oh my god. This is
But
incredible.
yeah, just in the Helms dynasty are very angry over this as Gregory Shane Helms yells, "Kick that boat's ass."
So all three of them start beating the shit out of this boat, which I can't believe is a thing. So they beat the hell out of the boat, only for Shane to be knocked into the lake of reincarnation and to come out as his character from 3 Count in WCW.
Oh man, I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be the Hurricane straight from there. So I forgot that happened.
I was very happy about this because they come out as 3 Count, and then Trevor and Andrew Everett start doing dancing really badly next to him for Shane only to look, and he goes, "You're not Shannon. You're not Evan. They were a lot better than you."
Only to eat a double super kick from his own tag team, and he falls back into the lake of reincarnation.
Yeah, I'm so happy that 3 Count made an appearance in this fucking decade.
Who would have thought?
Oh,
We only needed Tank Abbott to show up.
oh my god, there's so much happening here, which we finally get the Rock and Roll Express back in after the whole Helm situation. they yell over to the Hardys and they're like, "Are we going to do this or what?" So we end up in the ring with the Rock and Roll Express and the Hardys, which is a kind of a cross generation dream match, I guess.
Right, because a lot of people would say that like the Hardys are a new age version of the Rock and Roll Express because the Rock and Roll Express were like that exciting babyface tag team that the women and children loved. And
Yeah,
that's what the Hardys are. So very cool.
yeah, it was cool. And Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson here fighting the Hardys. You know, it's some decent in ring action here for them being like 60 at this time.
Yeah.
And you know, it's passable. So until we get to the Skywalker moment.
Yes, we get to the point where Jeff Hardy and Ricky Morton each go on a cherry picker and start locking up. Like the two cherry pickers collide with each other and they have like a lockup and they start fighting on top of the cherry pickers.
Something again we never thought we'd see in wrestling is people fighting on a cherry picker, but the Hardys do not disappoint with these matches. They come out here and they give us anything they could think of.
Yes, I would love to see who came up with that and then who pitched it to Ricky Morton. And Ricky Morton's like, man, I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like they must have all just had to give in to whatever Matt and Jeff thought of.
Well, I know that Ricky Morton, like, he seems to be a really big fan of wrestling nowadays because he still, like, he just wrestled Joey Janela in GCW, like, last
Mhm.
week.
Yeah,
And he's like, he's hitting Canadian destroyers and shit. Like, I think that he gets it, which is
yeah,
really cool because a lot of older guys, are like oh, wrestling was better back in my day, but he seems to be like, no, it could be great in both of those days.
yeah. Good for Ricky Morton, man. He's been keeping going for 30 or 40 years now, so good for him.
Yes.
But here I'm glad that he got off the cherry picker because he was stuck here when this ended. So somebody saved him. But
Yeah, because that was he got stuck on the cherry picker, but this was after Matt Hardy got locked into the spinning toe hold by Robert Gibson.
yeah, Robert Gibson was giving Matt the business there, only for him to eat a twist of fate. Um, but before that, or maybe yeah,
Yeah, it
before
was
that,
before
Jeff
that.
had
Yeah.
Jeff missed a swanton off the cherry picker, which is
Which,
insane.
yeah, I mean, you could tell that it was a little bit lower, like it was only probably about an 8 foot drop, but still, you're taking a front flip off of a cherry picker into the ring.
What Jeff, man, he has a death wish. He just doesn't even care.
No, that's like the worst bump I've ever seen him take was the swanton off the cage onto the steel steps.
Oh yeah, that was sickening. Like why would I just like question like what goes through your head where you're trying to hype yourself up to jump? Like are you like I just have to do it?
Yeah, he just has no fear.
Yeah, that's from somebody that there's only a certain amount of people that can really say they have no fear, and I think Jeff Hardy is legit one of them.
Right. It's absolutely insane the stuff that he's done. So that he's done for this business and for the fans and just to prove to himself probably as well.
Yeah, he's an adrenaline junkie, is what they always say. So I mean, good for him. I hope he doesn't hurt himself as he gets older here because he's still doing some crazy shit.
Right. Like just a few years ago when he had that Hell in a Cell match with Orton and he did like the thing where he was on like he was gripping the roof of the steel cage in the Hell in a Cell and then like face flopped through a table.
Yeah, see, that's so dangerous. I hope he takes more calculated risks as he gets older.
And I think he started to. But he also just had that ladder match which I got to watch with Sami Zayn and AJ Styles.
Hmm.
That was supposedly like a really awesome match. It might be a hidden gem.
Yeah, we might have to check it out here soon. But this whole missing the Swanton, it doesn't matter because Matt still is able to pin Robert Gibson from the Twist of Fate, and they leave Ricky Morton up there on the cherry picker.
And we get the immortal line from Ricky Morton. Matt Hardy, you broken son of a bitch, let me down.
Yeah, that was
Please.
amazing.
Like he was so angry and then he's like, please let me down.
Yeah, he's like, no, really, like let me get down from here. But as this is happening, we had a couple random like quick cut-ins of the Helms team fighting the Bravado brothers uh, in the sanctuary of the Genesis of the Hardys. So
Yes.
that's going on, and they have knocked each other out, which means that Swoggle and Spud are going to join in and try to take advantage. Like Spud pops his head through, and he's like, "The coast is clear. Let's go." And Swoggle's head pops up like near like his belly button, which is great.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen a prolonged Spud Swoggle tag team.
Oh, that would have been incredible.
Like, because they had great chemistry here where he's like, Swoggle's like, hey, stop patting my head. I'm a grown man. And then Spud just laughed at him, even though Spud is only about like 6 inches taller than
Yeah,
Swoggle is.
seriously. Oh my God. Some good stuff. But Swoggle and Spud end up making their way to the ring. Spud holds open the bottom rope for Swoggle, and they start to go to work, only for Swoggle to turn on Rockstar Spud.
Yes, because with Spud stealing the pin and then showboating to the non-existent crowd, Swoggle gets that power bomb and the tadpole splash, laying out the big man laying out Spud.
Beautiful. I'm glad that Swoggle was able to shine here. And after that, we get a cut of Eddie Edwards and Lashley still fighting for really no reason. They're just
Yep.
continuing to fight. And we get another cut to Ricky Morton, who is still stuck on the cherry picker, only for a surprise man to show up.
Yes, the now late great Road Warrior Animal making the appearance in full face paint, saying, "Ricky Morton, what have the Hardys gotten you into now?"
Like the Hardys just do this to people all the time. Like they get them stuck in cherry pickers and shit.
Yep. So I assume that Road Warrior Animal is the one that saved Ricky Morton.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that he was able to get down from there. He didn't have to jump.
Because that he was a good like 40 feet in the air too.
Yeah, they just left him out there. Hardy was like, I don't got time for this. We'll get you tomorrow. Like, so after that, we have the Decay, who is approached by a mystery man wearing like a Jabberwocky mask, like the plain
Yes,
white one.
that's what I
And
wrote, and because that's the what the DCC used to wear.
who's the DCC?
James Storm, I think he led it, and then I think it was like Bram maybe might have been in it, and then somebody else.
Oh, see that I must not have ever seen that. I was kind of confused.
Yeah, no, they wore like um the Alpha and Omega masks, like where
Mhm.
like the plastic ones. So I think they were only around for maybe a couple months,
Okay.
but James Storm was part of the DCC.
Okay, I got you. So James Storm has like 8 people with him, and when the gates open, they go to attack Abyss, only for him to throw them away. And James Storm reveals himself, only for a random man who I guess is the truck driver to
Yes.
show up.
Yes, long term storytelling right there because Sketchy Dude is like, I'm gonna be all over you like a spider monkey. You remember me? I heard on the scanner that this was happening and I had to come down here.
Oh my god, that's amazing. So the truck driver ends up getting pinned here, and James Storm sadly is eliminated.
Yes.
But at
And
least James
he's
Storm gets to kick him.
yeah, which was great because he was super angry. He's like, I don't even know this guy.
And the ref is like, well, he's pinned, so fuck
Too
off.
bad.
Like
Too late.
I don't know what to tell you. He's like, he's your tag team partner now. So after that happens, the Decay moves to fight the Hardys because I guess they're the last two left here. And
um
or wait,
them
no,
the
there's and the
dynasty too.
and Helm's Dynasty.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Decay is moving to fight near where the Hardys volcano is, but we see the volcano for the first time, and it erupts as everyone is fighting around it.
Yeah, and they all take the bump from the volcanic eruption as well.
Oh my god. What the fuck? So this is where we get a cut back to the Lake of Reincarnation, where Hurricane Helms has spawned out of, which I couldn't believe he could use the hurricane. I thought that's why they went to 3 count.
I think he spells it with a K.
Oh,
Like
okay.
so it makes it different.
Gotcha. So he shows up as Hurricane Helms, and after that we get a news break. We have a cut in from a fake local news channel.
I loved this because they were cutting in through. I remember watching Total Nonstop Deletion like the whole episode, and they were cutting in throughout the show talking about Tag Team Apocalypto. But now he's revealed that if the Hardys lose, the land of deletion will implode Cameron, North Carolina. So it will kill everybody there. So the stakes could not be bigger.
No, and this guy was like, I never thought I'd die at the news desk if the Hardys don't win. Our lives are with them. Like so much on the line here. The innocent people of Cameron, North Carolina could possibly meet their demise if the Hardys don't conquer space and time tag teams.
Yes, it's a uh, definitely a bold strategy. Let's see how it pays off for the Hardys.
Yeah, so we have the Hardys or we have them fighting in a makeshift graveyard now with the Helms Dynasty. We have Matt fighting them, and then we have Jeff fighting 2-on-1 against the Decay.
Yeah, and Abyss manages to get a hold of Janice, the which is, if we haven't made it clear before, is the board with nails driven through it.
Yes, the iconic one from the They storyline.
Yeah, so his trademark weapon. Jeff goes to light fireworks again, but they won't light, and Big Steve, or Big, I almost said Big Steve,
Crazy Steve.
Crazy Steve ends up hitting a low blow instead.
Yeah, poor Jeff. He tried to turn to the fireworks that worked so many times here on the Hardy compound. But it's okay because Vanguard 1 is here again and starts shooting fireworks at them. And one, I think, catches Abyss in the chest.
He was not expecting that one.
No, he was like, God damn, this drone. This fucking just shot me in the chest. So he gets hit with one of these enough to stagger him. But then we get a cut back to the Hurricane, who saves Matt from his own Dynasty tag team.
Yes, because after all, he's got to get the revenge from the double super kick from earlier, and they both managed to use shovels and hit the Helms Dynasty in the head with them.
Yeah, and that gets them to throw them into the makeshift graves that Senor Benjamin was so nicely prepared. And they start to throw the dirt over them. And we get the best line, maybe in wrestling history.
Yes, we get to the point where I don't have it verbatim, but he says, even the man with three H's would be pleased with the burial of the young and up and coming talent.
Yes, he. Oh, and they give the smile and the thumbs up to the camera, which is
Yes.
just amazing. The man with three H's.
That just I'm so glad that they got hired back by WWE after that.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Like months later, but
And
oh,
then
that was
the
incredible.
oh my God, so much good stuff happening here. And then we get back to the Hardy symbol that is drawn into the field is lit aflame, and they are fighting the decay inside of the lit symbol. And this is the final two teams, and we see Matt grab Janice and strike Abyss in the stomach.
Which is a essentially committing homicide on poor Abyss. He's having a rough night getting shot with fireworks. I mean, but getting killed with Janice. But I think that's revenge for the whole smashing the guy's head with a rock.
Yeah, that's true. It's an eye for an eye there. And this brings us to Crazy Steve and Jeff Hardy fighting near the volcano, which causes one of the greatest moments in wrestling history, where Jeff Hardy is able to hit the twist of fate that staggers Crazy Steve into the volcano.
And only for the volcano to immediately erupt him back out. And he's covered with like smoke and burns and gets thrown back into the ring by the volcano.
Yes, he lands in the ring, and Matt Hardy pins him, and the Hardys have one tag team Apocalypto.
Listen, it's like a table or a cake. If it's put ringside, it's going to be used. The
Yeah,
volcano, it was put ringside. Somebody's got to take the bump.
it's ridiculous. So Steve goes 80 feet in the air or whatever out of this volcano, lands smack dab in the middle of the ring. Matt Hardy pins him, and the whole Hardy clan, Senor Benjamin, Rebby Sky, King Maxwell, everybody is there celebrating atop the volcano.
Yes, all six of them, I believe, because Vanguard 1 comes in too. There's a bunch of
Yes. Yeah.
pyro coming, shooting from the volcano, clearly pyro. But and this is where he said, the Hardy compound was nearly destroyed, but together we will rebuild it, all six of us. And then Rebby Sky decides to drop the revelation there that she said seven of us, and Matt reveals with, "You're pregnant? Great."
Yes, he's like wonderful. So we have a seventh Hardy brought into the fold here at the end of Tag Team Apocalypto. This, oh my God, this is insane.
Yes, absolutely perfect ending for this whole thing. Um, and really, I think the peak of the storyline, like, because after they did the expedition for gold and stuff afterwards, which was cool, but like this was the big moment.
Yeah, this was it came full circle here.
Yeah.
The Hardys stood tall, and we got all these legendary moments here, things that we never thought we'd see. Oh man, a lot of good stuff happening in this storyline.
Yeah, I personally, like, I could watch this all day. Like it is so good, so entertaining, and it's something that I'd been looking forward to for a long time to cover, but we had to just find the right time for it. And I think that this was a good way to end the TNA story arc as well.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Um,
This was oh God, this was something.
yeah, this might be my favorite thing that we've actually watched for the podcast.
I don't know what mine is. I'm gonna have to look at the end of the year and see what my favorite stuff was because there's a lot of good stuff. I honestly the David Arquette stuff was fun.
Arquette was fun. I had a great time with the whole Pillman's got a gun.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
was some great stuff. The Dark Wedding as well.
Oh yeah, that was great.
But
Oh yeah.
we've had a lot of good stuff, man. This will be our 43rd episode in.
Yeah, we're almost at a year now. We started December last year recording, so it's crazy that we've almost made it to a year at this point. Um, it's just going to keep going, though. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We have a huge list, and believe me, we've just scratched the surface so far on what bad wrestling and funny segments there are.
Absolutely. We got a lot coming up. We got some WWE, we got some ECW, and we have a mystery one at the end of the year that's going to be excellent.
Yes, we do. We might not even reveal that until it comes out at this
Yeah.
point, but so this is coming out. This is October 21st when it was released. And then we have the Halloween episode, The Worst of Wrestling, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton at Payback 2017 in the Wyatt House of Horrors.
That was certainly something.
It was definitely something. And then November 4th, I think we are the only podcast that to date has ever covered this. We're going to cover the Buckle Up Teddy storyline.
That's going to
Um,
be great. I am so excited to see where to, Teddy.
Where to, Teddy? And then November 11th will be the Eddie Guerrero tribute show. And then we have some ECW thrown in there after that. So it's going to be a lot of good stuff coming up here.
Yes, not to mention our new Hidden Gems segment as well.
Yes, the hidden gems will happen there near Thanksgiving time in America. November 25th is when that's scheduled to drop. So we're going to start that, which is going to be fun because we're going to find some good matches that we may have not seen in a long time.
Yes, I'm so excited. I feel like we're really on a roll. The TNA stuff was fun, but we got a lot to look forward to.
Yes, we do. So just follow the socials. Twitter is Stranger Rings 1, Instagram Stranger Rings Pod. We are on Facebook too if you want to like it. and we are going to be back next week with the worst of wrestling with our Halloween episode. So stay tuned. Please leave a 5-star review, and we'll see you then.